Shalawama, Shalawama. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. All right. It's good to be back. Let's get into Gemini. Let me check out the microphone settings. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure the signal is all right. Give me 1 second. All right. So we're going to do Gemini. Everybody, you should know that this is the book that we're working with, the Gospels and the Zodiac, right? Y'all remember. All right, here's the author, Bill Darrell-El. Did I get his name right? Finally, I get his name right. The Reverend Bill Darlingson. No, not Darlingson. But anyway, y'all see it. The Gospels and the Gospels and the Zodiac, the secret truth about JC, the Christ figure. Okay, we're going to begin on. If my voice sounds tired, it's because I'm tired. All right. So please bear with me. All right. Please bear with me. So I have a drink here. It's not alcoholic, but it's very delicious. I had this for the first time in a hot pot restaurant. I wish it was in a clear glass so that you could see it. But this is a rice drink. Y'all will be shocked at what people in Vietnam, well, not just Vietnam, but what people in Asia can do with rice. This is rice and watermelon juice. And it is absolutely delicious. It is, delicious. Y'all wouldn't believe it. And it's fresh. Okay, it's fresh. So let me check it out. Let me check out these settings, y'all. I hope that this is going to be exciting for you all. Please try to let go of any type of opinions that you have about the zodiac. All right, and let the information speak for itself. Okay, so we got a good signal. Yeah, let's let it do what it do. All right. Y'all make your own decisions based upon whatever this author is going to present. All right. Cheers. Okay, Islam to all of the Moors. Shalawama to all of the Moors. In short, what that means is I'm saying to you when I say Shalawama, I want the Most High to return your estate back to make you inheritable. Okay? I want justice to be done to you. And those areas where you were injured or harmed, the justice takes place. Okay? All debts owed to you are paid back. Y'all get what I'm saying? All debts that are owed to you are paid back, and that you obtain all of the material wealth promised to you upon the return of our people and you as an individual to natural law, which is to the Most High, by following his instructions. Okay, y'all call this the 10 Commandments. All right, that's what is meant by Shalawama in short. Okay, so anyway, let's make it do what it do. We on page 85. Let's make this sing. All right, let's make this baby sing. Here y'all see the image. The two twins. All right, now let me remind you that this is not my work. I'm just a messenger. It's not my work. So I'm not claiming that I have any special knowledge. Y'all can read this yourself. Y'all don't need me. Here is the sign of Gemini, the two pillars. Okay? The two pillars. And let me ask you right now, don't put any foolishness in the comment section to try to mess it up, talking about he reads too much. All right? If you don't like to read, then Zion Law School is not for you. I really don't want to deal with idiots. Okay? You go watch a video. All right? But if you want a proper education, then I'm going to give you that. And I'm not going to put my opinion in it. I'm going to give you what the author is saying from the book, and I'm going to explain it. All right? Of course, the explanation is going to be from my experience and knowledge base. Now, that is not an opinion. Okay? That's coming from my experience and my knowledge, not my opinion. All right? So don't be ignorant and put ignorant stuff in the comment section, all right? Or do something nasty like y'all usually do. I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about the ones who have done nasty things. All right? So here we go, page 85. Gemini, Mark chapter 4, verse 35 through chapter 6, verse 29. The author is saying right off the rip, or as we used to say when I was young, right off the nipple. The author is telling you that Mark chapter 4, verse 35 through chapter 6, verse 29 is astrological. He's telling that right off the rip. It's off the nipple. It's astrological. Okay? Next, he writes, he has in quote, "My name is Legion." Gemini, if you look at the symbol for Gemini, y'all think that's a Roman number 2, don't y'all? Y'all think that's a Roman number 2? How about if that's two pillars in disguise? How about that? Two twin pillars in disguise standing next to each other. What is this reminiscent of? Now I'm giving y'all my ideas, all right? My knowledge base. What is this reminiscent of? Reminiscent of this. The two equinoctial points. The vernal equinox and the autumn equinox. All right, so this is the spring equinox and the fall equinox where we get justice. We get righteousness. There is no inequity. Every man gets 12 hours of daylight and every man gets 12 hours of night. You can sin, you can spin, you can do whatever you want in those 12 hours. That's justice. All right, so this is where the connotative notion of justice comes from in nature. So this is where the concrete has been remixed into abstract. Y'all got that? So we see the spring equinox is the covenant of labor. You need to work. Put that work in, right? You need to put the work in during the spring. And in the summer, you need to work. You work your fields, provide irrigation, make repairs to your irrigation. All right. Hopefully you got seeds from last fall. Okay. Hopefully you got seeds left over from last fall. Hopefully you kept 10%. You should be thinking tithing right now. Okay. Hopefully you kept your 10%, which is a remix, which was remixed into a Roman tax. In Christianity, y'all call it a tithe or tithing. But they said, hey, we don't need no seeds. We need some what? We need some money. Okay, now they need Federal Reserve notes because for some reason your deity has problems handling money. So we have the covenant of work, the covenant of labor, which is the spring equinox, somewhere between March 17, 18, 19. Okay, depending on the year, it might go to 22, might go 20, 21, 22. It might range from all of y'all go back and check it. But that's usually, it'll occur on one of those days, all right? And then there's the autumn equinox, all right? The autumn equinox, which is going to occur in, let me get the date right. Sometimes I mess this up. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I get the date right. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. I need to respond to something. Give me one moment. All right. Now let me get the vernal equinox. Y'all see I'm checking it on my phone to give y'all the. They got to remember with these dates, they are approximations. Okay. Don't ever get fooled into thinking that dates and all of that stuff are correct. They're approximations, and when you're dealing with Egyptology, it's a total scam rather. Okay. All right, y'all. I hope y'all remember that. Autumn equinox. Let's see. September. Okay, so in the 23rd. Oh, okay, so September 23rd, according to the website I'm looking at right now. Let me show y'all. It's supposed to be the autumn equinox. All right. So the autumn equinox, this is the covenant of peace. The covenant of peace, or the covenant of grace. That's when you get your harvest, right? Assuming that you've done all of the work, you saved your 10% of your seed from the previous year. You saved that, so you had enough seeds to plant, right? You did the proper preparation of the soil, and you did the proper watering and proper irrigation. You did everything right. Now you got yourself a good harvest. All right. So once you get that harvest in, you have a storehouse of goodies, and you can party, right? You can party, you can chill, you can relax because you got enough to keep you all the way until next spring and beyond. Okay. So this is why it's called the covenant of grace, the covenant of peace. Okay, so let me see. In 2023, the spring equinox will be, let's see if this website has it, will be Tuesday, according to this website. In Vietnam, it's going to be Tuesday, March 21st, the autumn equinox. So if y'all want to celebrate New Year's, celebrate the natural New Year. Y'all see it? Celebrate the natural New Year. Don't celebrate the corporation's New Year, which is in January. Don't celebrate that. Return to nature. Start respecting nature. This is what has been provided for us in nature, okay? So celebrate this. The vernal equinox. Going back to Gemini. So the vernal equinox, spring equinox, that's one pillar, the covenant of labor, the covenant of work. And then we have the other pillar, y'all look at my hands, the covenant of grace, the covenant of peace. Now, aren't they opposites? One, you need to work and toil in the field. Spring equinox, you working and toiling in the field. Maybe it's so much work you don't want to do it, so you hire somebody to do it, right? Then there's a covenant of grace. That's when you get to drink as much wine and alcohol and make whatever you're going to make, sit back and get fat, right? Enjoy life, sit around. You don't got to go work in the field. So these are opposites, right? So Gemini are opposites often, okay? Contradictions, okay? So that's what we see in the two pillars. What is it? Yakshin and hold on. Yakshin and it'll come to me, y'all. As I go, it'll come to me. But anyway, if y'all look up the two pillars, you'll be able to find those two appellations. Okay. So let's get into it. Page 85. I'm going to read the illustration. Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. And then in parentheses it reads, I am large, I contain multitudes. Okay, this is a quote from Walt Whitman, who was born on May 31st, 1814. Now, looking at this from a modern science point of view, the birthday means absolutely nothing. Okay, you'd have to do a statistical analysis over a large population of people that takes it, that studies or analyzes their birthday, personality, and significant things that they do, and see if there's a significant relationship between their birthday and the behaviors, personalities, etc., that are represented by these zodiac signs. So since they're not presenting this type of statistical information, you can just take it with a grain of salt, all right? Or consider it just entertainment. That's my point of view, based upon my training. All right, y'all. So give me 1 second. Let me check, make sure we still got a good connection. All right, y'all. Like if y'all been here more than 5 minutes, I want you to like and share the video and subscribe. All right. Don't freeload. Don't freeload. Okay. Gemini and Mercury. How significant it is, that's a quote, writes Aldous Huxley in the Perennial Philosophy, quote, that in the Indo-European languages, the root meaning of, quote, to should connote badness. He goes on. The Greek the Greek prefix dice or dys, as in dyspepsia, and the Latin dis, as in dishonorable, are both derived from duo. I guess that's do. The cognate bis, gives a pejorative sense to such modern French words as bevue. It's spelled B, I don't know how to pronounce it, Bebue, which means blunder. Literally, quote unquote, to sight. Traces of that second, which leads you astray. Let me repeat that. Traces of that, quote, second, that's two, second, which leads you astray, end quote, can be found in the word dubious, Dubious, doubt, Doubt, and let me spell this word first, Zweifeln, Zweifeln. For to doubt is to be double-minded. Bunyan has his Mr. facing both ways. In modern American slang, it's quote unquote two-timers. Obscurely and unconsciously wise, our language confirms the findings of the mystics and proclaims the essential badness. Let me repeat that. Proclaims the essential badness of division. A house divided cannot stand, right, y'all? A house divided cannot stand. Ain't that what we get in the Gospels? All right, let me go back. Obscurely and unconsciously wise, our language confirms the findings of the mystics and proclaims the essential badness of division. A word, incidentally, in which our old enemy, quote unquote, two, makes another decisive appearance. This is quoted from Huxley, page 11 and 12. So y'all who are listening, what are some other examples that have the concept or the word two or dual or double or mirror that have a negative connotation in our language? Y'all think about that. Come up with something, put it in the chat. All right, put it in the chat, and let's make this entertaining. Okay, let's make it entertaining. Okay, let's continue. Page 86. Since it is the primary contention, interesting word, right? We're talking about Gemini, and he uses the word contention. Okay, so that's good if you get it, to contest, right? Since it is the primary contention of all mystical philosophy, their reality is unitary. And the primary aim of all spiritual practice is to recognize this unity. Even in science, right? Everybody's looking for the unified theory, but what was it? I think he's Nigerian, Dr. Gabriel, it'll come to me, but he's the author of Gaga. He solved that problem back in the 90s. unfortunately, most of us are not even aware of his work, right? But he's already solved that. But the author here is saying that religion claims that there's a unity, okay? And that makes sense, right? You should be unified. And what do the Hebrew Israelites say? Everybody's got to be on one accord. That's what they say. But you show me a situation where people have been on one accord, I'll show you something that's rare. Very, very rare. It rarely happens that you can get a group of people, even if it's only 3 or 4 of them, to work together for any significant period. Not even a year. Most people can't make it past a month or 2 working in one accord, right? Most of them can't. Especially if there's no money involved, right? It just does not happen in or under the corporate Christian management. Okay? It does not happen. That does not mean that man cannot do it. It just means that in the corporate environment with the economic forces, the social forces, and especially nowadays, I mean, our people, there's the attack on the family and the pressures of having to work and survive every day, and the unfortunately the enculturation and the indoctrination, i.e. education, of the so-called Black Americans and the Indians, the Latinos, all of the indigenous people. You guys have been engineered to not be able to work together, all right? Because of distrust and envy and jealousy. Okay, so let's get back into it. All right. We read here, since it is the primary contention of all mystical philosophy that reality is unitary. Now, y'all know reality. I don't know how he's using reality, but technically, reality are those things that you can only experience with your senses: hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. See, that's reality. Okay, so let me go through this again since you have this information. Since the primary contention of all mystical philosophy is that reality is unitary, that means one, it is fitting that any treatise on the spiritual life, now y'all know spiritual is not concrete. You cannot see a spirit. You cannot see breath unless it's actually cold, right? Then you can see the condensed air, right? But I don't know how he's using spiritual. I mean, this is a religious thing, okay? So we'll work with the religious meaning of spiritual. And I guarantee you that's different for every person. But you cannot see a spirit. You cannot see spiritual. You cannot hear spiritual. You cannot smell. You cannot taste. You cannot touch spiritual, right? You cannot. So these spiritual is an abstract. You only experience with your mind. And the primary aim of all spiritual practice, that would be religion, is to recognize this unity. It is fitting that any treatise on the spiritual life takes you back to the New Testament, takes you out of nature, takes you out of the Most High's instructions, his commandments, what y'all call in religion, and puts you squarely into the corporate, dead, abstract system. It is fitting that any treatise on the spiritual life should contain a significant mediation or meditation, rather, a significant meditation on unity and division. Okay, so that's a fancy way of saying that they need to explain the benefit of being unified and the wretchedness of being divided. All right, so let's continue. Let's see how the author puts this together. Mark's gospel contains such a meditation in its third section, where we are introduced to the themes inspired by the constellation Gemini. Okay, third section, the author has divided the book of Mark up into chapters per their zodiacal representations. Okay, so the third section, let's get into it. Mark's Gospels contains such a meditation in its third section, where we are introduced to the themes inspired by the constellation Gemini, the twins. The first of those constellations, called by Ptolemy, quote unquote, bicorporal, double-bodied. I guess this is in Greek, dysoma or disoma. Okay, I remember soma from, we use soma in medicine. I wasn't expecting it to see it here, but disoma, that means two bodies, the visceral, right? And by modern astrologers as mutable. He describes them thus. Now, this is Ptolemy, okay? Let me go back and repeat these. Ptolemy describes Gemini, or the first of the constellations of Gemini, bicorporal, double-bodied, and mutable. Let's get into the further description. The bicorporal signs Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces are those signs which follow the solid signs and are so called because they are between the solid and the solstitial and equinoctial signs, and share, as it were, at the end and at the beginning. So what is this saying? This is a very complicated way of saying that these bicorporal signs are positioned at the end, meaning the last month of one zodiac sign, making it the beginning of the next zodiac sign. Let me see if I can show something to show y'all. Give me 1 second. Let me get an image for y'all. I'll show you on my cell phone. All right. Give me 1 moment. Shalom and Islam to the Moors. Like and share the video. Subscribe if you have not already. Subscribe. I need y'all to do that. All right. Don't come in here freeloading. If you've been here more than 5 minutes and you haven't liked the video, go. Don't stay here. I don't want you. And that's for real. I don't deal with one-way streets. Okay, y'all? You're either with me and you support me, or I don't really want nothing to do with you. Okay? If you don't understand that, well, I can't help you. So y'all take a look at this. I hope you can see it. I don't know if it's too bright. Let me see if I can do a screen share. It might be easier if I do a screen share, y'all. Hold on. Y'all might get it. Let me Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. Gemini. Hold on. 1 second. Let me Google search bicorporal signs. All right. 1 second. Last time I showed my cell phone, the picture didn't come out right. It was a big glare. Bicorporal zodiac signs. Let's see what image we get, y'all. All right. So let me see. No, let me put these up. Hold on. Let me do a screen share. I almost forgot. Hold on. Let me screen share. I've forgotten almost how to use. It's been so long since I've used what is this I'm using? StreamYard. All right. Let me see. Okay, so let me see if I get what I'm looking for to make this easy for you guys. Okay, so yeah, I think I got it. Okay, so y'all see here where the cursor is? Aries, this horizontal line right here where the cursor is. That's the equinoctial points, okay? So here, the vertical line, let me read. So from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, the line here, that's the equinoctial lines. Spring, vernal equinox, spring equinox, and then over here in Libra, this is the fall or autumn equinox, okay? So the vertical line here at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, these are the solstices or the solstitial points, okay? Cancer, this is summer, okay? This is summer. And then Capricorn is winter. Y'all got that? So now we are, where are we at? We are, oh, Gemini. So y'all see Gemini here, where the cursor is. So here we see Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and then Cancer. Let me see if I can find a better one that has the seasons. Okay. I think the image that I showed y'all has the seasons. Yeah, the image that I showed y'all have the seasons. So let me show you. Maybe I can blow this up and save myself some time. Good. And see, that image was not right anyway. Looking at this, that image was not right. So y'all check this out. Let me go to the hold on. Let me put this here. So check out, do you see Gemini? End of spring, going into summer. Let me make it a little bit smaller. So check it out. Can y'all, I hope y'all can see that. Do you see Gemini? Gemini is ending spring, going into summer. So let's see. Adam, wholeness and balance. All right, Islam and Shalawama. Okay, so take a look at what the author is talking about. Now, this is very important, scholars. Very important that you get this concept. So spring, let me move it back. Let me see. Let me try to put this in focus. This is a very important concept to get. Now, remember, this is not talking about some religion. This is talking about energies. Okay, so for example, magnetic, electromagnetic energies can affect your mood. Not can affect, but do affect your mood. Okay, y'all? So the planets, they're probably contributing electromagnetic energy. Okay, and then that energy may affect your mood, physiology, or personality. All right, which would explain why our ancestors did birth charts, not a religious witchcraft thing, but it was a quantification of energy. For example, electromagnetic energy that had a known effect on mood, personality, and behavior that they learned through observation and study, probably over thousands of years, but more likely we were born with it. Came as original equipment at birth. But now, having been removed or detached from nature, we are detached from the sensory apparatus that our ancient ancestors used to come up with all of this stuff. We were born with it. So if you look at spring, you'll see spring is Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Gemini is the zodiac sign that ends spring. Okay? And then we get Cancer going into summer. So what did our ancestors tell us? They're saying Gemini will have some relation in terms of energetic effects to Cancer. Y'all see that? So there's going to be a mixing here. All right, y'all? A mixing of these energies. Just like, you know what it's like? When the fresh water, let's say in a river system, when the fresh water hits the border of seawater, they call it brine. You have a mixing of fresh water and seawater. This is the same concept. The mixing of the electromagnetic and what other energetic, whatever energies are there, mixing in with Cancer energies. That's all it's saying, okay? So we find the same thing with Virgo, which ends summer. Virgo, which ends summer, and I would dare say that Virgo, instead of that hybrid troglodyte European Virgo, this might be Virgo. Our representation would be a Moabite woman for Virgo. It would be a Moabite woman for obvious reasons, okay? So Virgo is blending in with Libra, just like fresh water in a river when it's going into the sea is blending in with the salt water of the sea. Okay, they call that brine. Y'all got that? The author is calling this bicorporal. So we go to the fall. Hope y'all share this with people. All right? Don't keep this to yourself. Help me share the video. Let our people get this information. It's free. All right? Help them get this information. So now we have Sagittarius ending fall. Sagittarius ending fall, and the energies of Sagittarius. Now, when I say Sagittarius, I'm not talking about Sagittarius, the symbol. I'm talking about the constellations that are represented by the symbol which you call, or we've been taught, is Sagittarius. I'm talking about the star or the cosmic energies. Let me put it that way. I'm talking about the cosmic energies that are released from the planets and stars that make up Sagittarius, blend with the cosmic energies of the stars that make up Capricorn, and all of the planets, their relative positions. They all contribute energy, okay? And probably during one sign or another, some energies are more influential and less influential than others. Do y'all see it? Now, Pisces ends winter. Pisces ends winter, and so Pisces is going to do what? Blend with Aries, bicorporal. Pisces cosmic energies blend with the cosmic energies of the constellations that make up, of the stars that make up the constellation Aries, right? And whatever planetary effects, whatever those might be, I have no idea, but I'm learning. All right? So this concept of the mixing of energies, the author is calling it bicorporal. You can remember this by remembering that when a river ends and it flows into the ocean, you have the mixture of fresh water mixing with salt water. All right, they call that brine. In this case, when one constellation ends a season, it mixes in with that constellation that begins that season. We call it, or it is called, bicorporal. All right, so y'all take a look. This is how that whole thing looks. When I get a chance, I will put this image in the description area, or maybe I'll do a community post. But y'all take a look at this, okay? So the seasons are very important, all right? The Hebrew Israelites deal with this as a calendar, right? Where every month has 30 days, etc., etc. I did a calendar on this, but I never published it because there's problems with, oh, hold on, y'all. There's problems with that whole system, so I never published it. I don't follow it. I don't follow the Hebrew Israelite feast days, okay? I don't follow any of that stuff. All of that stuff is religion. All right? So I don't follow it, so I never published it. I kept it to myself, and there it is. All right? So let's get back to it. I hope y'all appreciate the break that we just had. Can y'all put some comments in the comment section? I would appreciate that. Let me know if you were understood what I just presented about bicorporal, and if you think it has any value. Okay, so let's continue. I would like for you guys to put comments in about this concept. Show me that you understand the concept by putting something in the chat. Now, when I teach classes and I present a concept, I always test the scholars or my students to make sure that they're able to speak what we just learned, what I just presented to them, because if they can speak it and give an example of it, then they're demonstrating that they understand it. Now it's theirs. All right. Okay. So the bicorporal signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, we just went through them, are those which follow the solid signs and are so called because they are between the solid and the solstitial and equinoctial signs, and share, as it were, at the end and beginning, the natural properties of the two states of weather. The bicorporal signs make souls complex. Okay, let me repeat that. The bicorporal signs makes souls, S-O-U-L-S, complex. Now we know souls is a remix of the Latin word sol, S-O-L-S, which is the sun, the disk in the sky. The Roman Catholic Church took that, added a U in it, which gave you, so in other words, S-O-L, the disk in the sky became S-O-U-L, and told you that you have a soul that survives death. Okay, so that they could further control you. Now, this author is alleging the bicorporal signs make souls that is supposed to leave you when you expire, that make souls complex, changeable, hard to apprehend, light, unstable, fickle, amorous, versatile, fond of music, lazy, easily acquisitive, prone to change their minds. Okay, so maybe he's talking about soul as a physical body. This is Ptolemy, pages 67. Okay, so this is Ptolemy who said that. Ptolemy, in this document, if Ptolemy even ever existed, if he is ancient, if he came before the Catholic Church, then soul means the fleshly body. Y'all hear me? If Ptolemy is a made-up dude, all right, if he's made up, soul here we need to take in the context of Catholic religion. All right? Everybody get that? Let me check. Give me 1 second. Let me check the comments. I think we have a comment. Let me check it. All right. Okay. Let me put this on the screen. All right. So Adam writes, no complex SOL. All right. Excellent. Excellent. So we have to keep in mind, scholars, that we're dealing with word magicians, people who not only create connotative meanings of words out of the denotative, but they've made abstract words, and then words have different meanings in different languages, and these people even create languages, all right, to confuse you and to hide information, okay? But those people who are in the know with them understand, all right? They understand the method to their madness. Okay, okay, thank you, Adam's Eve. He writes, I am called Eve, pronounced Eve. Okay, oh, Adam's Eve. I don't know why I didn't get that. All right, I see. My apologies. Adam's Eve. She, yes. Yeah, I get it now. I get it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Islam and Shalawama. And I don't mean that, I mean that in the most sincere way. Islam, I self-law and master, for y'all who don't know. And I gave the meaning of shalom earlier. Okay, let's continue. Since these characteristics cover 4 zodiacal signs, we cannot claim that they all belong exclusively to Gemini. In fact, few astrologers today would accept that love of music, laziness, amorousness, or inquisitiveness were typically Geminian traits, but the rest seem particularly apt and feature prominently in the delineation of the Geminian type. Jeff Mayo lists the characteristics with which most astrologers would accept as typifying Gemini: adaptable, communicative, versatile, incessantly on the go, restless, inquisitive, liking variety and change, contriving ingenious methods for transmitting anything from here to there. In this way, he is the ideal middleman or mediator. Nervously excitable, inconsistent, witty, chatty, never dull. That comes from Mayo, published in 1964. You'll find this quote on page 43. So again, let's go back to the cosmology of it. The science of it, as far as I can tell, is that the energy, let's just single one out, the electromagnetic energy that occurs during these signs, these bicorporal signs, would tend to push whoever is born in that under the sign of Gemini. It would push them by physical means. No spirituality, no reason, no religion, y'all. By physical means, just like when the sun shines on you, your melanin activates and you get a suntan. Same thing. There's no witchcraft in that. There's no magic or spirituality or some, invisible person doing something to you. That's human physiology. So these cosmological energies, for example, electromagnetism, whatever, has an effect on some tissue or on some gene in the body and pushes a person into personality traits such as being adaptable, communicative. That means you talk a lot. You're very talkative, versatile. All right. You're always on the go, restless, curious, inquisitive. You like variety and change, contriving ingenious methods for transmitting anything, etc., etc., etc. No devils and demons. It's pure science. Okay? Energy. Now, it's a known fact that energy can affect your genes. For example, people who put a cell phone to their head or they sleep for long periods of time with the Wi-Fi router near their head, they can get cancer. Well, how is that? Because your genes, your DNA is being destroyed by those waves. That's an extreme example. What's another one? Skin cancer. The sun is emitting radiation on people who don't have a spacesuit. They don't have sufficient melanin to block the sun, right? And so the energy from the sun does what? Injures their DNA. And they begin to what? they get cancer lesions. There's no devils and demons in that. None whatsoever. Okay? So if anyone denies that energy or electromagnetic energies have an effect on mood, just go to, is it the North Pole? Go to Antarctica or one of the poles, or put yourself in the dark place for 24 hours a day. Try to do it for the week and see how you feel. See how you feel. Okay, you men, you Moorish men, don't go out in the sun. Work inside. Don't go out in the sun. And guess what? You set yourself up for prostate cancer. Yes, you set yourself up for prostate cancer because you're not going out in the sun. Okay, and you're not going to get the vitamin that when the sun hits you, your body produces a vitamin. All right, that vitamin protects you against prostate cancer. All right, so how you going to make religion and devils and demons out of this? Okay, let's push it. Let's push it. Since these characteristics, we already read that, all these are really, I'm at the last paragraph, page 86, scholars. All these are really manifestations of, quote, duality, end quote, a factor present in all the mutable signs, but particularly evident in Gemini. Y'all got that? Gemini, you'll see duality most in Gemini compared to all of the other signs. That's all that's being said here. That's it. Because Gemini is also an air sign, A-I-R, an air sign, and air, now in the book, air is capitalized. A-I-R capitalized. What kind of noun is that, scholars? Put it in the chat. Gemini is an air sign, and air is the element through which mutability or changeableness best expresses itself. The glyph of Gemini are the two pillars. Now, I want y'all to think about something, okay? Very good, Adam's Eve, a proper noun. Excellent. Thank you for that. Let me show y'all the Gemini glyph. There it is. Y'all see that? The two pillars. That's what I mentioned earlier. The covenant of peace and the covenant of labor, the covenant of work, and the covenant of grace. All right? Y'all got that? Let me put this up. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Adam's Eve. Actually, I like your name. I like your name. Okay. All right, y'all. Y'all might note that I've seen many Hebrew Israelites take pictures and they have looks like a column here and a column here. And then you'll see the Hebrew Israelites standing in the middle of the column. They don't realize that that's astrological. They don't realize that that is astrological. Okay, and then these same people will turn around and say astrology is witchcraft. And there they are posing between two columns. Gemini, right? Or what? They don't know it. Or the vernal equinox and the autumn equinox. Joshin and the other one will come to me. They don't know it, but this is what ignorance will get you. Okay? The glyph of Gemini, which looks like the Roman numeral 2, but it's actually 2 columns, y'all. It's 2 columns together. Okay? 2 columns together. The glyph of Gemini is a graphic representation of its nature. 2 poles. See, I didn't make that up. Parallel but separate. Joined at the top and bottom, depicting a perpetual conflict between 2 quite distinct natures and expressing the irrepressible restlessness by which man divides himself and widens his experience. This is a quote from Jones on page 59. Let's do something here. Y'all want to know what? Maybe I shouldn't speak about what comes to my mind. Let me see. So let's go over Adam's Eve's comment again. Let me open up my device so I can read it. Yes. Okay. Let me open up my device. We eat here or? Okay, it's okay. Yeah. I'll open up my device and let's go through this comment. Adam's Eve writes, it's often referred to as occult imagery. Okay, thank you. Adam's Eve, if you have some more stuff, if you're willing to share it, feel free to do so to benefit our people, if you don't mind. This information or the knowledge that you have is hard to get. Okay. So here we are, 2 poles. Now, why is he saying 2 poles? Why does not he just say 2 columns? Because if he says 2 columns, you're going to get an image in your mind of 2 columns. You might think initially Greek columns, right? You might initially think Greek columns. Well, let's say Greek columns comes to your mind. Well, guess what's going to happen? Eventually, you might learn or you might associate that the concept of these columns don't come from Greece at all, but they're Egyptian. Now, when you associate that with Egypt, well, now you got a problem, right? You have a problem. Because they don't want you to know anything about astrology in scripture or Egypt. Okay, that's just me. That's how I think. Why is he not using the word columns, 2 columns? If he says 2 columns, you might start seeing 2 columns in books and in your environment, and you start to relate that to astrology. And they don't want you to have any parts of any knowledge of astrology. Y'all got that? They don't want to wake you up to astrology, the science of it. Okay? So what about Esau? What about Esau, y'all? Or is this talking about higher self and lower self? Let's look at it again. The glyph of Gemini is a graphic representation of its nature. Two poles, I'm going to say two columns, parallel but separate. Two manner of people in the womb. Separate nations, but in one womb. Separate nations, but in one womb. Y'all know that goes against nature, right? Let's take a look here. Adam's Eve writes, yes, the Greeks notoriously absorbed Egyptian knowledge. So when you start thinking like this, two manner of people in the womb, very different in what? Character and nature. Two manner of people, different in nature. The hybrid, and I'm not saying what I'm saying is true. I'm telling you my thoughts right now. The hybrid is a hybrid. The hybrid comes from the womb of a Moabitess. So do we come from the womb of a Moabitess. Y'all got that? But they are not a nation. They cannot be a nation. Why? They have no inheritance. They have no land. And in law, hybrids are monsters who cannot inherit land. Y'all got that? In law. Genesis chapter 2, man and woman in law are the substance and the subject matter of the law, the rightful heirs. Okay? I'm not saying I'm right. That's just what came to my mind when I read it. What also came to my mind is higher self and lower self. Okay? Let's see. So this Jones guy, let's go back. It says here that the glyph of two columns or two poles is a graphic representation of the nature of Gemini. Two poles, parallel but separate, joined at the top and bottom. So you'll hear more scholars saying that these are our children. You'll also hear the black scholars saying that these are our children. Yes, indeed. Humans, Adam's Eve says human equals monsters. So y'all look at the community post that I did of Han Human. Put two and two together, y'all. Let me see if I can pull up my community post on Han Human. Now, y'all know Han Human was the leader of an army of half human or half man, half monkey beings. Okay, this would be the Genesis chapter 2. The Genesis chapter 2. Let me just find it on Google. I'm sorry, this would be the Genesis chapter 1 creature that was created by the Elohim. All right, and the Elohim would have been our ancestors, maybe or maybe not, in partnership with Dogon, okay, or Annis type. All right, and JC, the Christ figure, is a Dogon. Let me pull this up. Han Uman. This is the Hindi deity who's half man, half monkey. I have a community post where I show a lot of these images, y'all. So this is said to be the leader of an army, of an army of half man, half monkey beings. So this is the hybrid troglodyte nigger, the Paleolithic colonist. Adams Eve writes, the Amazonian tribes to date refer to the hybrid as, quote, little brothers and sisters, end quote. And so here we are, y'all. Here's one of them now. Can y'all see that? Is there a glare? I hope there's not a glare. Okay, so this takes on, I was speaking with the guy from India, and he told me that this appears in flesh in different bodies over time. So this is Han Uman. I want to show y'all the soldier, but he's presented and spoken of as a good guy. Okay, no surprise to that, right? I thank you. It's delicious. I'm having dinner right now, y'all. My dinner just arrived. So here we see Han Uman again. I hope there's not a glare, so y'all can get this. All right. And to piggyback off of you, Adams Eve, have y'all heard about the monkey god that's been found over the past maybe 7-10 years? That city in I think it might be Honduras. Let me pull it up. The monkey god, the city of the monkey god. So this is giving evidence that the more science of this is correct. Okay? Let me pull this up. Y'all can watch this. Okay, here y'all go. Look. Let me know if y'all can see this. All right? The lost city of the monkey god. This is in South America. Now, y'all know that their behavior was so bad, and they were cannibalizing people, right? Our ancestors got them out of there. Okay, so y'all go back and y'all search that. All right, in Honduras. Okay, y'all? There's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff you can find on this. Okay? It's all evidence that this is real. And our ancestors created the hybrid troglodyte Paleolithic nigger to be a soldier, to do agricultural work, to row boats, all right, etc. So let's get back to it. This is actually delicious. So y'all, I wish y'all could see what I'm eating. This is what's this called? Yao. Yao. It's called gyao. It's actually quite delicious. My first time eating today. My time is 10 o'clock at night. I haven't eaten today. Did I eat today? I did. Yeah, I haven't eaten today. Okay, let's get back into it. Page 87, scholars. Page 87, scholars. St. Paul's Geminian qualities are further underlined by the numerous roles. Okay, we're talking about the Apostle Paul. By the numerous roles. What are those roles? Paul was a spokesman, theologian, letter writer, and missionary, which he played in the development of early Christianity, and by his volte-face on the road to Damascus, which changed him from a fervent persecutor of the new faith to the most ardent devotee. All right. So there was a contradiction or major change in his behavior. He went from what? Wanting to kill him to being the most zealous of them. Okay. His confession of moral turbulence in Romans chapter 7 is a perfect expression of Geminian duality and Mercurial inconsistency. Now let's go to the footnote. The footnote reads, I do not understand what I do, for what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate, I do, for I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. For what I do is not the good that I want to do. No, the evil I do not want to do. This I keep on doing. Now, if I do what I do not want to do, it is no longer I who do it. That's bullshit. S-H-I-T. It is you doing it. But Paul is saying it is no longer I who do it, but sin living in me that does it. This is a quotation from Romans chapter 7, verse 18 through 20. Now, let me tell you this, scholars. This notion that man and woman were created bad is absolutely false. That's a Christian concept. That's a story that the Christians made up. Okay, and that gives you a need to have a savior. No, you're born perfect in the way that you were intended to be. Period. Okay, Psalms 82:6. You are quote unquote gods. You are very significant people. You are creators. You're not a sinner and born bad. No, that's a corporate Dogon mindset to conquer you from birth, to make you think that you are unclean. And this is, let me tell you all this, this is exactly the reason why they created what we used to call, when I was in high school, venereal diseases, STDs. Why? They created them in a lab, or they transferred them from animal to man to make you what? Make you feel dirty. Destroy your self-image. Okay? When you're making love or whatever, to make you worry, make you fear. And then with the hoax that they pulled off, what was it, the late 70s, early 80s, the HIV hoax, HIV AIDS hoax. They used it as a means to put people in jail and to get them to take drugs that would kill them. All right, y'all, let's continue. I'm not going to belabor that. But Paul here is full of BS. It is not the sin in you. The devil didn't make you do it. You did it. You did it because you wanted to do it. You lack self-control. All right? Or you just don't care. Hold on. Let me show this for you, Adam's Eve. Okay, Adam's Eve's rights. Let me go back to it. Give me 1 second, y'all. This food is delicious. Yeah. Okay, Adams Eves writes, the Amazonian tribes to date refer to the hybrid as little brothers and sisters. I thought I saw another one. Oh, yes, Adams Eve writes, HIV was created in a lab. Actually, there's more to that, Adams Eve. If we ever talk, privately, I'll tell you about it. I don't want to say it on my YouTube channel, but it's not what people think it is. Okay. Wow. Email me if you want to know. I'll give you some information for you to go and work with and get the rest of it. Okay. So Paul here is a liar. We are not born in sin. We have a higher self and a lower self. Okay, and it's our choice. Of course, that's affected by programming, right? But it's still our choice. And we can break those old habits and create new habits. But it's our choice whether or not we're going to be higher self in our thinking and behavior or lower self in our thinking and behavior. So, Romans chapter 7, verse 18 through 20 is a bunch of BS. Don't ever think that you're a sinner. No, you are the power. You are the deity. You are the creative force in your life. And the good you do is because you decided to do the good, and the bad that you do, and some of y'all are real evil and trifling, envious and jealous, is because you want to do it. Get out of here with that crazy talk. Let's continue. Paul was even mistaken for an incarnation of Gemini's ruler, Mercury. Okay, so that would be Hermes in Greek. Okay, so Hermes in Greek is Mercury. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. That's what's being said. All right, so Paul was even mistaken for an incarnation of Gemini's ruler, Mercury, which is Hermes in Greek, by the people of Lystra. This is Acts 14, verse 12. So is that significant to y'all? In y'all opinion? Adam's Eve's right. All suffering comes from, quote unquote, want. Indeed, yes, indeed. Mercury, whose metal used to be called quicksilver. Okay, Mercury, whose metal used to be called, quote unquote, quicksilver, represents the whole of the cerebral spinal system and the nerves. The, quote, message barriers, end quote, of the body. Okay, so Mercury, that means fast, right? Fast transmission. Okay. I guess that's the symbology of it. Mercury also rules the brain, which psychologists tell us is, quote, bicameral, end quote, split into right and left hemispheres. The left hemisphere is rational and logical. The right hemisphere is affective and creative. Mercury is the fastest moving planet in the solar system, which is probably why in mythology, Mercury came to represent the messenger of the lowercase gods, the demigods. Ptolemy considers that when Mercury rules a horoscope, the native will be thoughtful, or the person who's born in that zodiac sign where Mercury is ruling, the person or the native will be, quote, thoughtful, learned, and inventive, end quote. But he also lists the potential negative qualities. So here's a duality. That person's personality, he might be an utter rascal. That means he's a SOB. Can be a SOB. Precipitate, forgetful, impetuous. He don't think before he acts. Light-minded, fickle, prone to change their minds. Foolish rogues, right? Get angry and just do or say anything. Wiltless, sinful. He's talking about religion, right? In other words, he's not living up to his religion. Sinful liars, undiscriminating, unstable. That means, you can't depend on this guy and his life ain't stable. And his relationships are not stable. He say he's going to do one thing and he does another. Unstable, undependable, avaricious, unjust, and in general, unsteady in judgment and inclined to evil deeds. This is Ptolemy, page 361. If y'all want to support, I'm Dr. Yasapa. If y'all want to support my project to write the book of the law into ancient Ibaryath, and from the ancient Ibaryath into modern English, where I will remove all of the lies, deception, and mythology, and I'm going to show natural law. I'm going to show the escheat and the attainment, etc., etc., etc. If y'all want that book, and it's a shame we don't have our own book of the law right now. If you feel or if you think that we need to have our own book of the law, then stand with me and support it. My Cash App and PayPal are in the description area of this video. Let me see if I'm showing it. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me see if I'm showing it. No, I'm not. Yes, okay. My PayPal and Cash App are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so y'all support me. And we really need our own book of the law. Okay, it's actually humiliating that we don't have our own. And unfortunately, the Hebrew Israelites will definitely, I'm talking about the organizations, they won't support the work that I do because for them, it's a matter of competition. Okay. And that's my history with them. It's a matter of competition. They don't want my name to be heard. So any support will have to come directly from the people. From the Moors, regardless of what family of Moors, what nation of Moors, what bloodline you're from, your Genesis chapter 2, you are a Moor. Okay? But I got a lot of books in the description area, online class. Y'all get with me. I'm going to end this now because I want to eat my delicious food. I just got it while I was doing a live stream, and I don't want it to get cold. Okay, but I'll be back within, I'll be back in the evening, y'all time. I'll be back around 6:30 or 7. That's what I'll leave out. Okay. And then I'll be back, hopefully, if I can get back someplace by 12 o'clock, I'll be back to do the next. So I'm thinking Gemini might be a series of 8 or 9 videos. Anyway, Adam's Eve, I appreciate you, all the comments. May the Most High uh, give you everything that was ever taken from you unjustly. Okay. Also, may He give you all the material wealth that He promised you upon your return to natural law. And what I say has nothing to do with that. That's on you, but that's a contractual arrangement, contractual agreement. And all of us needs to start saying shalom to each other, right? We need to change our consciousness, get back into the wealth mentality. Islam to all the Moors. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I'm going to eat and I'm going to go to sleep because I'm tired. And shalom to all of the bloodlines, all of the nations.